So I think, for me, the reason I came back to Georgia after graduating is it was something that I really wanted to do inside. It wasn't the common thing, but I've always been interested in education. I think it's great to come back and give back to the community that you grew up from and change things that you see that you would have liked to see when you were growing up here. So I've always been interested in education. So I decided to do that. When I was in college, I majored in economics, so I went to work for banks for a summer. I had different internships, and I had some offers after school. But I decided, what better time to try something that you enjoy and see how it goes. So that's how I made that decision. I think fulfillment comes directly. It's when you're passionate about something, then you'll choose the path of fulfillment. So there's actually, I'm a reader and writer, so I wanted to, in terms of my PowerPoint, I have some quotes from readers and writers that I think are really good quotes. This is the first one from a really great writer. He won the Nobel Prize about 10 years ago. And this is part of the speech he gave when he won the Nobel Prize about the work that he's done in his life. Just take a half minute to read it. So basically, if you're reading it, I'll just start talking. He talks about self-affirmation. I think that's the same thing as fulfillment. If you're truly passionate about something, then you're willing to pursue it, and odds are you're pretty good at it too, and you'll be successful. But success is a byproduct of something you're deeply interested in. Recently, I read some research, and Harvard grads actually don't make more money than grads from a lot of other schools. And I thought that was really interesting. Because my parents always asked me, when I was in school, what are you going to do after school? What's the starting salary? And what will you be making 3 or 4 years after you start your job? But a lot of schools, Harvard's actually not even in the top 10. A lot of schools like Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, actually, the NYU College of Nursing, and I actually found all this online. You can just look up these stats. Graduates from those schools make more than graduates from Harvard. But I think one thing I learned from school is, at least from Harvard, is Harvard's really famous not for producing students who make a lot of money after school necessarily. They really emphasize leadership. It's built into the culture of the school and the way they teach. And I think Harvard has a very extreme vision of what leadership is. And I think in my 4 years there, they really taught me that you need to go out and do something that's meaningful and that through which you can change some things. And then to my next one. This is from a graduate who gave a speech at Harvard a couple years ago. And I think I read a lot, so these quotes are really meaningful to me, and I chose a few that had to do with leadership at the top. And this is by Conan O'Brien. He's a very successful Harvard alumni in the entertainment industry. He has his own talk show. And if you know Jay Leno or anyone else, he's up there with them. So he talks about success and the fact that, especially for those of you, I'm sure a lot of you guys are really excellent students in school. You guys work hard, you guys get grades. Success is a never-ending pursuit. And when you achieve success, you'll want more success. But failure is the opposite side of that. So the way I think about things now, having graduated, is I'm in search of failure, because I think when I push myself in search of failure, I can push myself much further than looking for success. I'll push myself much further because I have no safety zone, I have no comfort zone. Looking for success, I'm only going to go so far, but if I push myself for failure, I'm going to go this much further. And I also think there's valuable learning in failure. So especially for you guys who are really successful and there are ideas that you have, push it to the point that you'll fail at something and you'll learn and recover. And then one more quote. So I have only 5 or 6 quotes. It's just, I'm showing you a lot right now. But this is from J.K. Rowling, and she gave a speech at Harvard a couple years ago as well. And it's a speech, I wasn't there, but it's a beautiful speech, and she talks about when she was writing Harry Potter, actually. How many of you guys like Harry Potter? When she was writing Harry Potter, she didn't have a job. She had several children to feed, and she was living off of welfare. And it was a long and painful process for her to put together the books that later made her famous and successful. And this is an excerpt from her speech.